When you picture a Valkyrie, what do you see? I bet it's a powerful warrior in a horned helmet, maybe with giant wings, right? It's a super famous image. But what if I told you that's barely scratching the surface? That the real story is way deeper. It's all about fate, philosophy, and the very structure of the Norse cosmos. Let's get into it.
I mean, who hasn't, right? It's a huge question. But for the ancient Norse, destiny wasn't just some abstract idea. Oh no, it was a very real, tangible force, like a thread woven into the fabric of everything. And right there, at the crossroads of our world and that cosmic plan, you'd find the Valkyries.
So let's just bust the biggest myth right out of the gate. On one side, you have the image we all know, the dramatic, winged warrior from opera. But the reality in the myths? It's something else entirely. They weren't just fighters, they were the choosers of the slain. And that job came with some serious cosmic responsibility.
To really get what that means, we have to look past the pop culture version. It's time to go beyond the winged warrior. We're going to peel back all those layers and find the true Valkyrie from the original Norse legends.
Okay, so their main job is literally in the name. Valkyrie means chooser of the slain, so their role wasn't really to fight in the battle themselves, but to watch it from above, to pick out the bravest, most worthy warriors, and then guide their souls into the afterlife. They were kind of like part judge, part spiritual guide, an idea that was built up over centuries in epic poems and sagas.
But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. Their choices weren't random. Not at all. And this brings us to the philosophical core of who they were. Their role is weavers of cosmic fate. See, they weren't just making a judgment call on the battlefield. They were actually carrying out a destiny that had already been written.
To understand any of this, you first have to understand this one massive concept, Urlog. Think of it as the ultimate law of the universe. It's a destiny so absolute, so powerful, that not even the king of the gods, Odin himself, could change it. This was the grand cosmic script.
And this flow of fate had a pretty clear structure. You can think of it like a cosmic chain of command. It all starts with the Norns, these three mystical beings who literally weave the threads of fate for every single person and god. Next up are the Valkyries. They're the agents in the field, making sure that what the Norns wove actually happens on the battlefield. And then, at the end of the line, are the mortals. They couldn't change their fate, but they had a choice in how they met it, and the goal was always with courage.
This brings up that classic philosophical debate, right? Free will versus fate. Did the Valkyries actually have a choice in who they picked? Well, the myths seem to point to no. They were more like instruments of a fate that was already sealed, which makes their job less about personal choice and more about a profound cosmic duty.
So, these chosen warriors, where did they end up? They went to Valhalla. But listen, this was not just some heavenly banquet hall for an eternal party. Valhalla had a much more important and strategic purpose.
Valhalla was basically Odin's boot camp for the end of the world. All those chosen warriors called the Einherjar were brought there for one reason: to train and prepare to fight alongside the gods during Ragnarok, the final epic battle. I mean, that tells you everything about the Norse worldview, doesn't it? The highest honor you could achieve, even after death, was to keep fighting for a greater cosmic cause. Valhalla was Odin's master plan to build an army for the apocalypse.
So that begs the question, how on earth did we get from these complex philosophical agents of fate to the iconic opera singers in winged helmets? Let's take a quick look at how that image evolved.
Okay, so in the original sagas, Valkyries were seriously formidable. Sometimes they were downright terrifying. But then 1876 happens. Richard Wagner composes his famous Ride of the Valkyries. And that image of the dramatic warrior maiden becomes so powerful, so iconic, that it almost completely overwrote the original myth. But what's really cool is that now in video games and movies, we're seeing this amazing return to their roots. Creators are digging deeper again, showing them as these conflicted, solemn, powerful figures wrapped up in destiny, which brings back all that philosophical depth.
So, what can these ancient figures actually teach us about our own lives? What are the lessons in destiny we can pull from these myths today? When you boil it all down, the myth of the Valkyrie is really about acceptance. It's not about trying to fight your fate, but about understanding that life is a cycle, that endings are a natural part of that cycle, and that there's a really profound wisdom in embracing that fact instead of running from it.
And that idea completely redefines what it means to be courageous. See, in the Norse world, the greatest hero wasn't necessarily the strongest warrior. It was the person who could look their pre-written fate, their Urlog, in the eye and face it with honor and integrity. True courage wasn't about muscles. It was about inner resolve.
So, I'll leave you with this question. The Valkyries are a powerful reminder that even if we don't control every detail of our lives, we always have control over how we face what comes our way. So as you look down your own path, how are you going to define courage?